Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a little bit of a process video for you. We're going to pull some twisty cane, and then we're going to make a simple drinking glass out of that. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's go ahead and get started. So first we went ahead and pulled some white cane, and I took about 7 or 8 different strands, they're about 6 inches long, and put them on this iron metal plate. Now we're going to load this into our garage, which should preheat these up to about 1000 degrees. So now you'll see me get a little bit of glass out of the furnace. This furnace was made by Wet Dog Glass in North Carolina, and it's a state-of-the-art piece of machinery. It holds about 700 pounds of clear molten glass. It's been on for the last 5 years since its construction, and it stays on 24/7 at about 2000 degrees. This allows for the glass to be very hot. The glass is the hottest it will ever be when it comes out of the furnace. But now you'll see me go in for a second dip of glass, and whenever I come back out, I'll have the right amount of glass that I'm looking for in the end. This is what we call a double dip. This metal table that you see me rolling my glass on is one of my favorite tools in the studio. This is what we call a Marvering table. It's a very thick piece of metal that we can use to shape and cool down the glass. Now my brother's going to take a quick heat on these so that we can bring them up to the right temperature after we took them out of the garage. We just need them to be a little bit hotter than they already were inside that preheated oven. And now we'll go ahead and pick them up onto our clear glass. You can see my sizes were a little bit off. I could have got a little bit more clear glass, but this is a new process to me, so I'm just kind of figuring out the small details. And even though my sizes are a little off, this is still going to be completely usable. Our plan here is we're going to get another layer of glass on top of this once I melt these canes in, and then we're going to try to stretch it across the studio and spin it rapidly. So we'll get just a little bit of a different pattern than I originally intended.
Yes, we're going to load it back up with another one. Do it again.
And like I mentioned before, these canes were just a little bit too long, so I'm going to end up getting rid of this excess on them.
There we go.
And now that I have most of these canes melted into my base, we're going to prep it to go get our second layer of glass.
Okay.
And now we're going to apply that second layer of glass. This process will be called gathering. Anytime we get glass out of the furnace, it's referred to as gathering.
Coming out. Thank you.
And now that we have that second layer of glass, I'm going to try to cool down the outside while I let the inside raise back up in temperature. The center is much colder than the 2000 degrees on the outside, and in the end we want it all to be the same heat, all the way consistently through it. And now I'm going to start prepping this so that we can stretch this all the way across the studio. This process is called pulling cane. You can pull cane in many different ways. This is called twisty cane. So we're also going to, as we stretch it, we'll spin the glass as much as we can, and these white striations will give us a very cool pattern by the end of it. Now my brother's going to start to prep the drill. We're going to end up connecting our glass to that little X on the end of the drill, and then we're going to use that as a post to stretch it. Alright, and now we're all prepped, so we'll begin the pulling process.
Yep, and then take that. You can stay where you are. Alright, you can... Here we go. And stay where you are. Yeah, you can turn the other way. You can stay where you are if you need to.
I was really satisfied with how this pull came out. And now, we'll chop the glass down into smaller segments, and we'll be able to look at it a little bit closer whenever it's cooled down.
There we go.
You can give me all of it.
Oh.
And here we go. I got about 12 feet out of this pull, and so I can chop it down into smaller sections. These little sections are about 6 inches long. So now we're back in the studio the next day, and I have about 15 of these canes that we pulled yesterday on this ceramic plate. We've preheated them up to about 1,000 degrees, the same way that we preheated the smaller white canes before we pulled them yesterday. And now my friend Corey is going to fuse these canes together so that they create a small plate of glass.
Sweet. And it's reading my mic. Awesome.
And now you'll see me come over with my pi divider and take a quick measurement for the length of these canes. This takes the length of the cane, divides it by pi, and then I know exactly what I need the circumference of my collar to be so that we can roll this up onto the blowpipe. And now I'm going to make that collar that I was talking about before. What you'll see me do is come out of the furnace with a small amount of glass on the tip of my blowpipe. I'm going to hold it up in the air to let the glass fall back. I'll blow a small bubble that'll shoot out of the end, and then I'll place the glass back inside of the furnace to let that small bubble kind of disappear and melt away. I want to make sure that there's a straight shot straight through my pipe. I don't want there to be any glass over the tip so that I can use this small ring of glass on the end of my pipe to pick up the glass that Corey's been preheating on the Pastorelli plate.
Do one more. Do you? In a moment? Sorry.
Alright, and now the glass is the right temperature, so I'm going to go ahead and roll it up onto my pipe. This roll up could have gone a little bit better. When I placed my clear glass down on the corner of the plate, I didn't get the best connection. So now I'm going to try to make sure that there's a good connection to the clear bit on the pipe, and I'm also going to try to seal off the cylinder and make sure that everything connects straight.
No worries. Got a bunch of holes in the back. Awesome.
Alright, so now everything's been melted together, and I'm going to terminate the end of this so that it's a closed off form and we can start to inflate it. And Now you'll see me use my newspaper tool so that I can push the bubble down towards the tip farther, and I can just start to inflate the entire form. This newspaper tool is one of my favorite tools to use in the studio. It's about 10 sheets of folded up newspaper soaked in water.
I was actually going to ask for some air. Corey? You want some air? Yeah. And on, light. And off. Thank you. I'll put a jack line in. Okay.
Now you'll see me use my jacks, these large tweezer tools, so that I can put in what we call a jack line. This is going to be where we'll break the glass off of this pipe once we transfer it over to the second one, when we do our Punty transfer.
And then we'll do...
You'll notice that I also have a small rubber tube that's connected to the end of my pipe that goes into my mouth. This is so that I can blow and inflate the glass while I use my tools at the same time. These are commonly used when people are blowing glass solo.
Oh, sweet.
And now we're going to go for our Punty transfer. So Corey has a small bit of glass on a solid pipe that he's going to bring over. We'll place it on the bottom of our cup, and then we'll be able to break it off of this hollow pipe in my hand, and we'll have it flipped over on the Punty.
Sorry, I wasn't specific. Ding. And rock.
And now that I have it flipped over on the Punty rod, I can use my tools to go into the small hole that's at the top where my bubble first went into the form, and we'll inflate it a small bit, and then we'll rip it open to have a nice, even walled cup.
Alright, and then I'll rip it open and we'll be done. There we go, man. That's a nice cup.
Alright, and now all that's left to do is we're going to disconnect the cup from the pipe. I'll use my torch to get rid of any sharp spots that are on where the connection broke off of, and then I'll run and throw it in our annealer so that this can cool down over about 12 hours. We'll be able to come back tomorrow and see our result.
Sweet. Thank you, Doran. Awesome. Came out great.
Which side?
The right side, please. Thank you very much. Sweet, man.
I'm really happy with how this cup came out. I haven't made a lot of these, so there's obviously things that I can improve on, but they always come out with a super cool result. These twisty canes are great. You can use them for a lot of different things, and the cups that you make with them are always very detailed, and they just look pristine. But thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and share this with anybody you think would find it interesting. So until next time, take it easy.